The Ras Al Khaimah International Half Marathon has attracted a record number of entrants, among them some of the world's leading runners. And here to tell us more about the field is Tim Hutchings. Tim, what's in store for us today?
Eve, more great racing. I think it promises to be very fast. Conditions here are always perfect. That's why the athletes come here, and the best athletes in the world do gather here in Ras Al Khaimah for this race. There's some athletes we should be looking out for, in particular Patrick Macau, the third fastest man in history, a little Kenyan guy who won here a couple of years ago. In the very first year, in 2007, he set a world record here for the half marathon, and he's ready to run very fast once again. And Dariba Merga of Ethiopia, who was third here a couple of years ago, is in great shape. We know that from a race he had last week in Ethiopia. Look out for those two in particular. And on the women's side, Mary Kaitani is a tiny little Kenyan girl, but she has made no secret of the fact she's after the world record for the half marathon here in Ras Al Khaimah, and she's up against a very tough little Ethiopian as well, Dire Tune, who won here 2 years ago. So there'll be some fabulous racing, some really good head-to-heads.
Thanks, Tim. Well, yesterday we caught up with the man tasked with bringing this elite field to Ras Al Khaimah. As coordinator of the top athletes, Ian Ladbrook is responsible for making sure each running of the race is as competitive as possible. He's confident about this year's lineup.
This is the 5th year of the race, and Nathan Clayton, the race director, employed me at the beginning to put together a world-class field. So I talked to the athletes, I talked to the managers of the athletes, the coaches, the federations, and try and pull together a field of good, fast racers who can come here and deliver us world-class times.
Course conditions are vital to any world record attempt. Tim, what do you think of conditions today?
Just about as good as usual, actually, Eve. It's a very, very flat course. The temperature's beautiful. It's probably about, 17, 18 degrees. It'll get warmer, of course. There's a bit of breeze coming down with the sun rising over the Hajar Mountains over there. It's a really, really lovely setting, this. And the athletes know that this race produces fast times every single year. This is the first anniversary, the 5th anniversary, rather. The last 4 years have produced really quick times, and they know it's almost guaranteed here with very good organisation, good pacemaking, and so on. So the athletes come here, they'll get quick times, it makes them more marketable, they'll earn more money for the rest of the year. Many of them have big marathons coming up in the spring marathon season in April. So for many of these athletes, today is a huge stepping stone into 2011.
Now, in its 5th year since 2007, the Ras Al Khaimah International Half Marathon has established itself as one of the most important fixtures on the world's sporting calendar. The race has attracted some of the world's greatest runners, with some record-breaking results.
The 2011 Ras Al Khaimah Half Marathon will be the event's 5th anniversary. His Highness Sheikh Saud bin Sakar Al Kazimi, ruler of Ras Al Khaimah, and under whose patronage the event is hosted annually, established the race in 2007. In the inaugural running of the race, Kenyan Sami Wanjiru finished faster than the then world record time, setting a new world best for the half marathon distance, and in doing so instantly elevated this new race to worldwide prominence. In the second edition of the race in 2008, 4 men broke the once elusive 60-minute barrier in what had become the world's richest half marathon, and the size of the overall field doubled as runners from around the region and across the world travelled to experience this super-fast international class race. By year 3, the race had been awarded an IAAF silver label, becoming the only road race in the region and one of only a handful in the world to receive this world-class accreditation from the global governing body of athletics. In 2009, the race continued to break records, dominated by the Ethiopians. Dire Tune set a new national Ethiopian record, Abebu Galan set a new women's world junior half marathon record, and Dariba Merga equaling the world 15-kilometre record en route. Kenyan Patrick Macau won the 2nd year in a row in a time of 58.52, setting a new course record and becoming the all-time 2nd fastest men's finisher in a half marathon. By the 4th edition in 2010, the RAK half marathon had succeeded in becoming the most favoured winter race for elite athletes and had nudged its way progressively through the crowded winter schedule of UAE races to become the most entered race in the country, with a record of 2,597 entrants, showcasing no less than 85 different nationalities. Elvan Abelegese not only set a new course record and a new national Turkish record, but also ran the fastest ever women's debut half marathon with her own personal best of 1 hour 7 minutes and 7 seconds. Mare Dibaba stole the Ethiopian national record from Dire Tune's 2009 performance in RAK with a second place finish of 1 hour 7 minutes and 13 seconds. 4 men broke the hour mark again, bringing the total to 13 in the RAK half marathon's short history, while the women have notched up a total of 9 finishes in under 68 minutes.
This race isn't just about the elite athletes. There are thousands running for the sheer thrill of it, or for a variety of good causes.
We're the Pink Ladies and we're running for cancer research for the Australian Cancer Fund.
I'm running the Team Relay Challenge, just for fun.
No, I just listen to my music and I run. Well, basically we're doing the Angel Appeal. We're doing the relay, so we thought we would dress up.
I will try my best to finish.
What do you enjoy most about these races?
When you get over the finish line and go home, actually.
But collectively it's good because we have this sense of togetherness, you know what I mean? Everyone just coming to one place to run together.
There's more to come from the 2011 Ras Al Khaimah International Half Marathon.
His Highness is ready. Are you ready, Ras Al Khaimah runners?
Well, the race is about to begin, so it's time to hand over to our commentator, Tim Hutchings.
Well, thank you, Eve. Yes, the elite athletes on the start line and ready to go. 7 a.m. local time in Ras Al Khaimah. Conditions absolutely perfect as His Highness the ruler looks on with great anticipation. And speaking of anticipation, let's have a look at those elite fields. The elite men, well, Patrick McCow knows this course well. He's won here twice before, the top-ranked marathon runner in the world last year. Dariba Merga has been here before as well. Twice he's been third, so he's hungry to do better. And the rest of those athletes have all broken 60 minutes for 1 hour. And the women's elite field, well, that's equally high quality. Mary Kaitani, it's her first visit here, but she already has a world record at 25 kilometres. She's hoping to add to that today. Dire Tuna was the winner 2 years ago, knows the course well and is very strong. And Hilda Kibet is twice European cross-country champion. And let's have a look at the course now. That start straight is 1 kilometre long, and then they head out around the city. Dead flat, remember. This anti-clockwise loop takes them down towards 10k, where there's a slight downhill at 11 or 12 kilometres before that U-turn, then back up the slight climb to 18, then the sharp left down the home straight with that long sprint for the finish. It's a very, very quick course, and the athletes ready to go.
2, 1.
Well, no time to waste then. There's a very strong sense of anticipation and wonder at what might come over this next hour and 10 minutes for the elite athletes, with the conditions being so strong in Ras Al Khaimah and the athletes in good form. We know that, many of them very fresh. For the vast majority of these men, as we see number 2 there, Dariba Merga, leading out in his usual aggressive style. Well, the athletes are all racing for the first time this year, including Merga, who is a sub-59, sub-60-minute runner, and fourth in the Olympic Games marathon. That was his announcing himself into the big time, really. The elite ladies have gone off fast too, with Simon Tanui rather, they're leading. Well, there's a pacemaker for them. Mare Dibaba. Well, Dibaba in this race last year was second to Elvana Belegese, who ran the fastest time in the world, as it turned out, for a half marathon. Mary Kaitani, this is her first appearance in Ras Al Khaimah, but we know what her potential is, and many talking, including she, of the possibility of a world record today. Well, they're going very, very fast, these elite men, at the first turn there. Merga already calling the tune, As you can see, the sun over the Haja Mountains in the background just beginning to climb. It's still very cool. Number 1 there, that is Patrick Macau, twice winner in Ras Al Khaimah. Another of those Kenyans who are so strong. And the men's race, by the way, has only ever been won by Kenyan men in the last 4 occasions, is Leonard Langat. Better known as a marathon runner, perhaps, but still very strong at the half distance. There is Macau's card. He's still a youngster, Macau, just 26 years old, but knows this course very well indeed, and was the top-ranked marathon runner in the world last year with 2 big wins in Rotterdam and Berlin. Well, there you see the men go through the 2-kilometre arch, and they're way ahead of world record schedule, 5:30 at 2 kilometres. They were looking to run 2:49 per kilometre. Well, so far, after about a mile and a half, they're averaging 2:45 per kilometre, 2 minutes 45. Mary Kaitani, there she is, the tiny figure in green. There's nothing of her. She really is very small, but then so is Deriba, so is Direchun there in purple, 52. They're tiny characters. Huge in heart. And they're ahead of schedule too. Around 3:08 at 1 kilometre is just about spot on. But you always expect the first kilometre to be one where they're settling into the tempo. And it's the next few kilometres clicking away that are very important. Well, number 7 there, tucked in behind Deriba Merga, is Leonard Langat. Won his last 2 half marathon forays as Langat. Well, Mary Kaitani going through 2 kilometres there in 6:12, 6:13, so they're averaging 3:06 per kilometre. They're ahead of world record schedule and by a substantial margin. Looks nice and relaxed, Kaitani, doesn't she, as we see Deriba Merga there checking his watch, but he's reduced it to single file, and that is a clear indication that even with a field of this calibre, he's going a good deal faster than the most of them are happy with. I had a chat with him yesterday and I said, why don't you just go out a little bit more conservative, try and hold back through the first half, save something for those last 3 or 4 miles? And he said, well, I just like to lead, I can't really stop myself, is what he was indicating, I think. They need a lot of energy for running at this speed, and Eve had a look at exactly how they get that energy.
The runners will burn lots of calories as they pound their way around the course today, so last night provided an opportunity to stock up on some fuel. Full of excitement, contestants of all levels gathered for the Ras Al Khaimah International Half Marathon Pasta Party, hosted by Banyan Tree Al Wadi. For these elite runners, this buffet was a last chance to fill up for the big race, and pasta was an obvious choice.
Actually, I prefer pasta because it has a lot of starch and a lot of carbohydrates, which it will give me a lot of energy, and I'm going to use it tomorrow.
The outdoor location offered a chance to check the weather, and there was optimism among the athletes that running conditions would be close to perfect.
You know, last year I was here for the race and the weather was good, and I ran 68:40. It was personal best for me, so it's not very shocking, you know, and also we train in Kenya, so it's more or less the same.
But nobody was taking the race for granted.
Of course, tomorrow I'm expecting a high competition from my colleagues, especially from Ethiopia, but I hope I'll try my level best.
I think it's going to be very tough, you know. We have got Tune, we have got Mary Kaitani and the other ladies, so it's going to be very tough race, so I have to hang there and see what can happen.
Well, Merga, with just a very few kilometres behind him, building up a big lead, and look at the speed he's moving at. I tell you what, just grab a point on the pavement beside him and see how quickly he goes past it. He's tearing along here, and that gap back to the very best Kenyan runners in the world has grown to 30 or 40 metres after only some 10 or 12 minutes of running. He hasn't yet reached the 5 kilometre marker, and yet he's finding the others wanting. There he goes, through 5K, and his time, 13:37. It puts him well ahead of world record schedule for the full distance. Here is Chun, she approaching 5 kilometers, but she's in second place, and in fact, the leader, Mary Kaitani, has gone through that point in 15:18, and Chun there is, some 5 seconds down on this young lady, Mary Kaitani. Simon Tanui in the blue vest is her pacemaker, and what a good job he's doing. The masses really enjoying this one. And of course, incorporated into the day's racing as well is a team relay. This is their start. 133 teams entered into the team relay, 4 runners per team, spread out evenly around the course at changeover points. We'll see more of that later. But here's Kaitani, just towards the west of the lagoon, making another turn. But they're gentle curves on this course. They don't break up the rhythm of the athletes, which is what they don't like. Well, it's critical, of course, that these distance markers and the full distance are measured accurately. We had a chat earlier with John Kunkala.
I'm a so-called AIMS course measurer. This is important because of the recognition of world records. I use a Jones counter. A Jones counter is a little machine that can be brought on any bicycle in the world. So wherever I go, somebody of the organization gives me a bicycle, and with this together I make a calibration course to know how many counts 1 kilometer is, for instance. After the race, if there is a world record, it has to be remeasured. I jump on my bicycle and just see and certify if the course is correct.
Well, we know John Kunkala is very experienced. We know that the course is correct. And the athletes in both men's and women's races making sure that they get their day's work correct as well. Dariba Murga has a big lead in the men's race, and it's growing, as does, and there is the gap, the leader, Mary Kaitani, in this women's race. Simon Tanui leads her as they reach the middle stages of this race. The gap is growing behind Mary Kaitani, back to Chun, and the world records look to be on in both competitions.